Hey everyone, a product I am obsessed with and have in my home kitchen at all times is O Olive Oil and Vinegar. O Olive Oil and Vinegar brings handcrafted artisan oil and premium vinegars to your table in exciting flavors. O Olive Oil and Vinegar products are made in California with only the freshest, cleanest ingredients and delivered directly to your doorstep. The Produce Moms podcast listeners can use code TPM15 for 15% off your order. I literally love every product they sell, and their gift box options are a great way to try the flavor bundles or give the perfect gift. O Olive Oil and Vinegar products feature complex flavors from California wine country and artisan crushed olive oils and extra virgin olive oils made with California olives. Visit ooliveoil.com and use discount code TPM15 to save some money. Her background is in music. She was a professional vocalist for 15 years. She's performed in 92 countries alongside her husband, who is also a musician, which sounds pretty cool until you add in the fact that he had almost $500,000 of debt, $460,052 to be exact. Yikes. Find out more next. Welcome to the Produce Moms. This is the podcast where I talk to various people who've made an impact on the fruit and vegetable community. There are so many stories to share that will change the way you look at fresh produce. Welcome to the show, Jade.
Hi, thanks for having me, Lori.
We are so glad you're here. Jade and I first met, it's been several weeks ago at this point. I mean, it was like early February, maybe, when you were in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right. I was in Indy for the Ramsey Building Wealth event, and I got to meet you and your husband at that VIP dinner.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so great to meet you, and I hope that we have the opportunity to cook together soon. Unfortunately, it didn't come together when you were in Indy, but since we are on the Produce Moms podcast, I'm sure most of your media appearances start off with your incredible, debt just warrior journey. But I want to ask you about your cooking. Like, we have to, because of you're a guest on the Produce Moms.
Absolutely. Yeah. Most people, when they talk to me, they want to talk money. And I love talking food. Food is just, I always say all the time, my two favorite things are food and finance. So I like comparing the two, money and meals. And, it started early for me. I say all the time, the way I grew up, there's just there was a lot going on in my household as a kid. And no matter what, my mom always cooked us meals. She cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner almost every day. And it was like, no matter what was going on, when I sat down with my family at the dinner table, it was just like peace. Like, arguing stopped, tension stopped. And it was like, we're just enjoying this good meal together. And that was really special to me. And then fast forward to being married and realizing we had this mountain of debt. My husband and I traveled a lot for work, and we would be out of town and then come back in town. And it was just a lot of stress, not to mention we're working to pay off this debt. So money was tight. And I just remembered what those meals that my mom cooked for me meant. And I was like, okay, I got to get in the kitchen. And I would go to the store, and whatever was on sale, I would buy it. And my husband and I were plant-based at the time, so it was a lot of produce. And I would just figure out how to make foods that were comforting for us and made us feel good and reminded me of my mom's cooking. And that's kind of how that was born. To be honest, it didn't start with money saving, but it ended up following me on that journey. So it's just something that's really close to my heart, Lori.
I love that. And something we say all the time on this show, Jade, is food is culture. Yes. And when you're telling me those stories of how it just takes you back to those core values that you learned around the dinner table, I think it just, once again, folks, this is a great example of food being just part of the fabric of life in a very cultural way. So thanks for sharing that, Jay. We're going to talk more about your food, but yes, like most of your interviews, we got to talk about this this debt journey. Almost $500,000 of debt, like we said when we kicked off the show today, folks. Wow. When I first met Jade, it was at a Ramsey event, like she said, and even amongst her peers at the Ramsey companies, Jade is the Ramsey personality. When you hear her debt story, I mean, it takes your breath away. So Jade, let's start there. I mean, you're a musician, you've got a background musician, entrepreneurship, incredible, I call it debt warrior journey.
I love that.
Yes. Let's hear it from your voice. How do you introduce yourself?
I say, I'm just like you. I graduated college, and a week after college, I married my college sweetheart, and we got married, and very shortly after realized that we had what was about to be $500,000 of debt, basically. And most of it was student loan debt. $280,000 of it was student loan debt. It wasn't mortgage debt, because, a lot of times when people hear that number, 460,000, they go, oh, nice house. I'm like, no, it was not our house. Student loans, credit card debt, 2 cars that we couldn't afford. Very, very normal, yet also very ridiculous. And when we realized that, it was like, okay, what are we going to do here? And I remembered Dave Ramsey. I remembered hearing his voice on the radio years and years back. And I said to my husband, Sam, I said, I think there's one man that can help us, and his name is Dave Ramsey. And so we go to Barnes & Noble, buy the Total Money Makeover workbook, and start working through it. And then we started listening to the show regularly and just kind of creating that community and just using that show to really just build us up and encourage us and change our mind. And in the course of 7.5 years, we were able to pay off all of the debt, all $460,000 of it. So,
wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I do think, you are the second Ramsey personality that's been on the Produce Moms podcast. We had your colleague Rachel Cruz on as part of our
Rachel.
January content. Yes. And now here we are bringing you on as part of our Women's History Month content. I mean, I really think that when I think about just financials overall. And Rachel and I talked about this too. Like, finance is a tough topic for women in particular.
Yeah.
And then after I was introduced to you and learned more about your story, I was like, oh my gosh, Jade is the perfect voice for telling this story. So we have to talk about your journey to get out of debt, because no matter where someone's at, I don't think you have to be at nearly $500,000 of debt for it to feel like a desperate situation.
Yeah, a lot of people, we know that 67% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. We know that 50% of Americans are feeling stress and anxiety when they think about their financial situation. So you don't have to have $500,000 to be feeling strapped right now or frustrated right now, especially with inflation the way it is. And, for Sam and I, when we were getting out of debt, it took finding that margin inside of your budget, which is extra money that you have after all of your expenses are paid, and using that to pay down the debt. Well, how do you create that margin is where a lot of people get hung up, because it's like, I just have enough money to pay my bills and no more. And so, for Sam and I, we had to find money in other ways. Of course, side hustling was a big thing for us, which is just finding side jobs to pick up extra income. But then we looked at our budget and we realized, okay, we can spend less in certain areas. And for a lot of people, that's the food category, right? Most Americans, that is their biggest budget buster, is the food category. And so for me, I just got creative. I started doing things that I didn't do before because I wanted different results. And so for me, I started meal planning, and I started finding ways to go to the grocery store and just buy what's on sale, and then figure out how to cook what's on sale, as opposed to just saying, well, I feel like eating, tacos tonight. It's like, no, let's reverse engineer this thing and buy what's on sale, figure out how to cook what's on sale. And that was one of the ways that we found margin in our budget. It was also one of the ways that we celebrated what it is that we were doing. Because when you're getting out of debt, you're saying no in a lot of areas, right? You're saying, no, I'm not going to buy a lot of new clothes. No, I'm not going to get my hair done. No, I'm not going to buy, a lot of things that quote unquote make us happy. And so during that sacrifice, I was like, you know what? I can make really great meals, and it's something we can do to sit down at the table, enjoy what we're eating, talk about our day, talk about our wins, talk about our frustrations. And it was just really something, how something seemingly so small can make such an impact on your debt-free journey.
I agree. And one reason I think you're such a strong voice for, our show, and really anyone who's going through a debt busting cycle in their life, as it relates to shaving down expenses, managing the economy and the cash flow you have. What we don't want as an industry, for a health halo purpose, and for the fact that we want a strong domestic farming and international farming economy. What we don't want is people saying no to fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And I think that your perspective as someone who's lived plant-based, you've been plant forward your whole life, like how can you talk specifically about that? How even when you were going to the grocery store with that reverse engineered concept to your shopper journey and experience, where you were allowing the point of sale deals to drive what you were eating at home. Can you talk about how you didn't really cut out the produce department in that process?
Yeah, if anything, I increased it. Like I said, my husband and I are plant-based eaters, so a lot of we eat the plants, and of course we do a lot of beans and lentils and things like that. But I think that there's a stigma that eating plants is more expensive. And the cost of chicken right now is up 17%. It's increased that much. We're not seeing those price increases as much when it comes to produce. And I just think, and I think people forget about that. They go, oh, it's fresh, it's going to spoil quickly. And I'm like, no, not if you eat it. I've got tips for how to make sure that you're not spoiling your produce. But I just think that a lot of that goes to not doing the research for yourself. Because if you look at the average cost of grocery spending, if you look at just a low cost plan for a family of 4, they're spending anywhere between $936 and $1,000 a month. Right now, as a family of 4, I am on the low cost spending plan, and I'm not even intentionally being there. And it's simply because I buy mostly produce, and I figured out how to cook that food. And people all the time, the first thing they say to me is, well, how are you getting your protein? And I'm like, look at me. Do I look like I'm lacking the protein? I think that people just kind of have the stigma in their mind that if you eat fruits and vegetables, it's more expensive. You're not going to have the right nutrition. And I'm like, no, the key is eating a wide varieties of food, and just the math. And I'm not saying, I know that you've got a lot of listeners and plenty of them eat meat. I'm not mad at that. But I'm just saying it's cheaper because you're not spending money on one of those big ticket items. So for us, it's always worked out. And we've actually been, when you look at the spending on low, moderate, and liberal, we've actually always been on the low cost plan inadvertently just because it's less expensive.
And I love to hear you say that with your perspective and point of view. We've always believed that at the Produce Moms, and it's not just a belief. It's rooted in the data and the evidence and the facts, pound for pound. And you can even think about it using your shopper journey. You think about some of the high ticket items in the produce department, like what, a pint of blueberries,
right?
That might be $3.99. That's considered kind of high ticket in the produce department. Maybe one of those pre-made snack trays that can feed a family. High ticket, more of a high ticket item. But you go to the meat perimeter section and you're definitely seeing prices. Well, you'd
Absolutely.
be finding a bargain if you found something for $3.99 in those sections, So
yes.
I'm with you. We believe, I eat meat. I kind of follow like a flexitarian diet, meaning some days I'm an accidental vegetarian or vegan, and some days I eat, meat and potatoes, whatever,
right.
But I definitely have believed since the first day I hit publish on our very first blog, which was in 2012, our pillars when we published that first blog, and they are still true today, fruits and vegetables are delicious, nutritious, convenient, and affordable.
Yes.
And so it's so music to my ears to hear you say that, Jade, to use
absolutely.
a musician analogy. But I love to hear that. And it's true. And if you shop the ads, you're going to be exposed to a great variety, and you're going to be exposed to great volume.
Yeah. And a lot of the stores, back in the day, there was a big ad matching campaign. And I followed that. Any ad I got, I would take it and they would match the price. And a lot of stores still do that. And I just think that, when it comes to folks getting out of debt, a lot of times they are sacrificing. But I for one, I'm like, do not sacrifice your health for this. Like, don't sacrifice what you're putting in your body, because the whole purpose of what you're doing is to have this rich and full life, and you've got to be healthy for that. So getting out of debt doesn't mean ramen noodles and Chef Boyardee. Like, let's get that straight.
Some of the other media that all the Ramsey personalities have done is when you approach your food budget, it's nutrition versus entertainment, and you can get both of those within your within some people accidentally take what's truly entertainment dollars and consider it food dollars.
Yeah.
So I hear Dave himself talk about that quite a bit.
Going out to restaurants, going out to eat, that's entertainment. We definitely want to cut that out. But hey, man, we saw earlier this year, I was reading an article and they were talking about how because of the price of inflation, they were seeing negative health effects in people because instead of people being smarter shoppers, they just bought whatever they saw that was the cheapest, not considering nutritional value. And so people were having higher blood pressure and higher cholesterol because they were buying canned stuff that's got like higher cholesterol and higher saturated fats. And it's like, no, 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 no. This is the time if there was ever a time to shop the perimeter, like this is the time to do it and get that healthy stuff in your body.
We have to talk a little bit more about how you actually got out of that debt. Because I heard some really amazing things when you were on stage, even having roommates in your own home. Like
I said, we started following the Ramsey plan. And I mean, the first part is the budget. So you've got to create that budget, making your plan every single month on paper, on purpose. And like the budget is law. Like once you create it, you follow it. And that's what it is. I mean, you spit shake on it, pinky shake on it. And so that's thing one. And then we talked about the importance of increasing your income and lowering your expenses. And so for most people, like for some people, it's either one or the other. But for most of us, it's doing both of those things. And so for us, one of the ways that we, got those expenses down is we picked up roommates. And at the time, we were newly married and we thought we're going to try this for 1 year. And let's be honest, after a year was up, so was that idea. But for a year, it saved us $600 a month and it was worth it, and we got rid of one of our cars and we went down to being a 1-car family. And there were just so many things that we were able to do that is against the grain of what's normal. But you kind of have to ask yourself, who cares about normal? Like I'm making my choices based on the priorities that we've said are important for our family. And, everybody else can just go fly a kite. If they think it's weird that you have a roommate or it's weird that you have one car, or it's weird that you say, I can't go tonight. We didn't budget for that. That's fine. Nobody has to understand it, but you know what you're doing and you know that you're getting out of debt. And you know what the bigger why is overall. And so that's what we did. A lot of sacrifice. We picked up a lot of side jobs. My husband trained dogs and I made cupcakes and we did everything we could to try to get more income in. And it paid off.
I'd say so. And I love that you brought up the concept of normal because I know another one of each of the Ramsey personality folks, they kind of have they all kind of have their own little niche. And one of Jade's niches that she's leveraged for within the Ramsey portfolio is entrepreneurs. And I can definitely tell you, as someone who has been bootstrapping my small business now for almost 8 years, 100% normal is go get financing, go find an investor, give up your ownership shares to take on capital or debt is another, it's go get an SBA loan. All of that is normal. And so anything that you want to say, Jay, when you have the opportunity to present at some more of the business facing events like EntreLeadership, what's one of your key messages for entrepreneurs out there?
A couple of things. A, moving at the speed of cash. I think that with all of us, when we're starting our business, we see what we want to get to and we want to be there so bad that we jump levels and we level jump and we are quick to try to get a business space and quick to make hires and quick to do all these things that we're really not to that point yet. And so honestly, moving at the speed of cash and moving slowly so that you're not taking on debt, you're not putting your business at risk. And honestly, what I like to think about it is the whole reason that you went into business for yourself is you had a service that you wanted to offer. You believed there was something you could do and you had passion about it. And the moment that you take on debt, you start working for a new reason. Now you're working to make sure that your debt is paid off. You're working so that your business doesn't go under. And it kind of changes the motivation of why you work. And so I really, really, really try to encourage people, man, just slow down, grow at a slightly slower pace to avoid taking on debt. It's totally worth it. And then I would say the second thing, Lori, is as an entrepreneur, I always tell folks, like the way I phrase it is diversify your demand. Like you're in demand for a reason. People come to you for a reason and that's great. But the more that you can increase your knowledge, increase what you know how to do, then you have more value in the marketplace. So I know for my husband and I as musicians, I started out as a vocalist and people came to me because I'm good at singing. And then I thought, you know what? I can be better as an instrumentalist. And then if I can be a better piano player, then I can teach lessons for vocalists and piano players. So I started doing that. And then I was always okay at dancing, but I got better. And I thought if I can do that, then I can start offering choreography and I can choreograph shows. So it's all about creating, diversifying your demand, getting better at so many things so that you're in demand and people will use you for many things. So,
all right, folks, with that, we're going to take a brief break, but we're coming back with Jade, and we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is food inflation. So with that, stay with us, folks. Jade Warshaw on the Produce Moms podcast. We recently launched a new content series on our website. The Produce Moms is excited and honored to introduce a series about American agricultural heroes. And our first featured hero is Cesar Chavez. Learn more about this American civil rights activist and labor leader by visiting theproducemoms.com. Join us in remembering Cesar Chavez and his service to farm workers on Cesar Chavez Day. This is a U.S. commemorative holiday that is observed here in America on March 31st every year. Welcome back. This is the Produce Moms podcast. I'm Lori Taylor, and our amazing guest today is Jade Warshaw. She is a Ramsey personality, and my new nickname for her is Debt Warrior. This woman, along with her husband, they have paid off nearly $500,000 in debt. Amazing. And we are going to talk now about a topic that, frankly, her colleague and I, Rachel, in the January show that we did together, we talked about food inflation too. The current state today, in March is frankly not a whole lot different than what we were dealing with in January as it relates to, the pressures with the grocery budget. It's tough. We're not going to pretend like it's not. Food prices, they are higher. According to USDA, we don't have 2023 data, of course. We're just a few months in. But in 2022, food prices increased by 9.9%. And that includes both the in-home price as well as the away-from-home price. Now, I'm not, I don't know. It's saying that the in-home price rose a little bit more than the away from home price. But me knowing what I know about the supply chain, I think it's perhaps that contracts, the food purchasing contracts that the food service operators are able to do on an annual basis, they haven't had the opportunity to kind of reset in 2022 to respond to that inflation. I don't know. I'm sure there's a consumer insights person tuning into the show. Maybe we need to do a future broadcast on that. But regardless, overall, we're talking about a 10% increase in the price of food in America. That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a lot of money. But if I may play devil's advocate for a moment, one of my colleagues, George, and I were talking about this, and he was like, "Hey, Jade," he was like, if you spend $20 or if you spend $200 at the grocery store a week, he was like, it's $20 more. He goes, I think that we can really get just into the frenzy. And don't get me wrong, people are strapped. I'm not saying that. But what I really want to point it to is that inflation probably is a symptom of a bigger problem, which is if we're going to the grocery store and $20 or $40 is breaking our world, we've got to do some investigation and find out what's really going on there. And again, it kind of goes back to that whole budget deal. It goes back to that whole, okay, am I living on my budget? Am I earning enough for the lifestyle that I'm trying to create here? Or do I need to find ways to get my income up? And we really need to start asking deeper questions as opposed to being like, inflation, it's the government's fault, and all of these things, and start looking at our own selves and at our own lives and go, okay, I can't control inflation. I can't control the avian flu. I can't control supply chain. What can I do to control what's going on in my very own house? And so that really needs to be the question that folks are asking.
I love that answer. And it's so refreshing to hear that because a lot of people haven't flipped the script like that and been like, it's probably a debt problem, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, we know that it is, Lori. I mean, we've seen, credit card debt is at an all-time high, almost $1 trillion. It's $983 billion in credit card debt. We know that car prices are higher than ever. This is what people are spending their money. The average car note is $717 a month. I mean, we're spending our money. We're just not spending it in the smartest ways. And then it's easy to look and go, well, inflation is the reason that I can't afford groceries.
Right.
Maybe not.
Yeah, then you blame the produce department. Not fair.
Not fair.
All right. So this is a headline from CBS News. All right.
Okay.
Grocery inflation picked up in January, even as overall U.S. prices fell slightly from the previous month, according to federal labor data. I guess we kind of just talked about that. Any thoughts that you have? Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think that those prices are going to constantly fluctuate. I mean, in a post-pandemic world, there are so many things that we're still recovering from. We're still seeing the outcomes of, and I feel like it's going to be like this for a while. And look, Lori, I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a state of panic, continuously. I don't want the news to be telling me how I should feel if today is a day that I can be calm or if today's a day that I can have anxiety. I want to control that. And I think the best way to control that is by getting on a plan with your money, starting to budget, starting to pay down your debt using the debt snowball method, and, get 3 to 6 months saved. And if you can do those 3 things, you're going to sleep so much better at night. And that's part of our baby steps plan. It's 7 baby steps just to financial peace. And if you want to learn more about that, you can check out my website, jadewarshaw.com.
Awesome. And it's so true. The baby steps work. I'm not completely through all of them, but I kind of, when we kicked off our collaboration with Ramsey, when I first had, Rachel on the show in January, which was kind of part of our resolutions theme. I mean, people, when you think about the turn of a calendar year, people are all about improving their lives. And yeah. I think so often, a stronger, healthier financial forecast within your own home is a leader in that discussion. So it was really timely. And we talked about all sorts of programming available through Ramsey Solutions. I attended FPU, Financial Peace University.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yes. I know when I met Dave, I was like, I graduated 12 years ago from FPU and I'm still not through all the baby steps.
Look, it's a journey.
Well, thanks. But yeah, I blamed my entrepreneur journey. And then he's like, you need to meet Jade. I was like, you're right. I do need to meet Jade.
I love that.
But all right, we got one more headline, Jade. I like this one a lot. Let's see what you think. From CNBC, amid food inflation, more shoppers turn to dollar stores. Thoughts?
I hope nobody feels offended by this, but food and dollar store are 2 words that really don't go together for me. So are they saying that people are going to the dollar store instead of the grocery store?
They are. And, there's been from a grocery lens, one of the fastest growing segments for fresh produce within at point of sale retail are the dollar stores.
I didn't know they sold it.
Certain formats, yes. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, Dollar General has a whole fresh offering and yeah.
Wow, I didn't know. I'm thinking of Dollar Tree.
Yes. Oh, I know.
Does Dollar Tree have it?
I don't know.
Wow. Well, then maybe I spoke too soon. I had never seen that. I'm thinking of when I think of the dollar store, I'm thinking party supplies and.
Well, and not only that, and if it is food, it would be cup of noodles and highly processed, shelf stable type stuff. But, I think that the headline in this article, what it tells us is maybe there is a consumer intent to spend less. That was kind of what I take away from this headline. The intent is there, but I come back to your early remarks. And again, something we say often at the Produce Moms, you can walk into whatever grocery store you shop at of any format, and you can follow the in-store ads and promotions. Right. And you can 100% find yourself making that food budget stretch.
100%. Yeah, that's really cool. It does indicate that. It shows that, hey, if it's clearly being marketed that this fresh produce, healthy food is inexpensive, then people will go towards that. So maybe we just need to do a better job of letting people know. I guess that's what we're doing today, is letting people know you can get this food and it's affordable.
And your story is a great testament to that. I mean, did you continue to shop at your one grocer, or did you shop everywhere?
I mean, I've always been a person, I'll be the first to admit, for me, the grocery store is usually 3 different places. I've got Costco for some things. I've got Publix for some things. Sometimes I go to Walmart. Honestly, it's really just, for me, it is about who has the best fruits and vegetables at the time, what the prices are, is it worth it to buy it in bulk? All of those things are things that I'm considering. And I just accepted a long time ago, I may have to go to a couple places. I love when the farmers market stuff is available. Where I live now, I'm new to the area, but where I used to live, we'd go to the farmers market on Sunday and it was like, okay, whatever we didn't get there, we'd get at the grocery store. So I just think you have to be open, and enjoy the journey of this, enjoy getting to try different fruits and vegetables, try different grocery stores, go to farmers markets and see what's available there. And, for me, it's a fun thing. So hopefully it's something fun that you can do with your family as well.
So I'm officially obsessed with Bare Beans. This is a new produce department item, and you can look for Bare Beans now on shelf at Fresh Time. Bare Beans are fresh, kettle-cooked beans sourced straight from the family farm. You might remember Michelle Huff, the founder of Bare Beans, from episode 195. Michelle, say hi to everyone.
I'm Michelle Huff, the proud owner of Bare Beans. My family and I have been growing beans in Idaho for 4 generations. Bare Beans provides that scratch-made quality with more convenience than a can. No liquid, no salt, just beans.
Bare Beans are the best way for us all to eat our plant-based protein. Look for Bare Beans now in the produce department at Fresh Time stores, or visit barebeans.com and use the store locator to find them near you.
Bare Beans is proud to be a woman-owned, farmer-owned, and Indigenous-owned business. Thank you to the Produce Moms community for your support. Now, back to today's episode.
Before we close things up, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to play Produce Department This or That, because if there's no one better to play that with someone who's coming with a budget conscious, like, hey, I'm a financial expert, I'm a debt warrior. So you've got that point of view going. And then also, of course, your plant-based, plant-forward lifestyle. So this will be a lot of fun. All right. Strawberries or blueberries?
Ooh, strawberries.
Guacamole or salsa?
Oh, guacamole for sure.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch.
Grape tomatoes or heirloom tomatoes?
Heirloom.
Basil or mint?
Basil.
Red potato, gold potato?
Red potato.
Pineapple or cantaloupe?
Pineapple. When you said pineapple, I knew no matter what was next to it, it was going to be pineapple.
I love that. All right. Bell pepper or cucumber?
Cucumber.
Romaine or cabbage?
Ooh, romaine. Definitely.
Okay. Not a cabbage fan, or just romaine all the time?
Romaine is great cooked or raw, like you can grill it. Whereas cabbage, I don't like it. I'm not really a slaw type gal. So cooked cabbage, it's not my favorite.
Well, I think it always comes to me in the month of March, like cabbage is top of mind, because it's like, St. Patty's Day, we do a lot of cabbage recipes at the Produce Moms. But yeah, I've been eating cabbage a ton, but I agree with you. Overall, I buy way more romaine. Yeah. All right. Last one, eggplant or carrots?
Ooh, I'm going to say eggplant, but I'm saying that lightly because everybody doesn't know how to cook eggplant, Lori. And when you know how to make it, it's delicious. When you don't, it's like slime. So
I agree with you. So let's take it a step further. Every Italian tuning in is going to want to know, eggplant, peel or not peel?
I don't think you have to peel it.
I don't either. I always keep the peel on.
Yeah. If I make spaghetti out of it, I keep the peel on.
Same. Well, even when I do eggplant parmesan, sometimes I'll keep the peel on. Sometimes I peel it. I've done it both ways. But yeah, I loved it. And I knew that with you living a plant-based lifestyle that you would have an opinion on eggplant and probably love it. It's one of those and speaking of a versatile veggie that you can use anywhere, let's do this one. Cauliflower or broccoli?
Oh, cauliflower. I love cauliflower.
Because you can do anything with it.
Anything. Broccoli, don't get me wrong, I love it. You steam it, you can braise it, you can roast it. But cauliflower, it takes on all those flavors so well. It's like an empty canvas. I love it. I just made it last week. It was so good.
Well, Jade, this has been a lot of fun. I thank you for your time. I thank you for sharing your incredible story with us all. Everyone, there is so much that you can learn from Jade and all the Ramsey personalities just by following along and tuning in to what they have going on at Ramsey Solutions. Jade, please tell people where they can connect with you and how they can, stay in touch and follow along with all your great work.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. This was so much fun. And if you're interested in what we've been talking about, the food journey, the money journey, you can find me. I hang out mostly on Instagram at Jade Warshaw. It's my name. And you can find me really on all the social channels at Jade Warshaw or on our website, jadewarshaw.com or ramseysolutions.com. So you've got your pick of the litter there. There's lots to choose from. But man, this was so good. Thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. So with that, everyone, we're going to say goodbye to you all here at the Produce Moms podcast. And Jade, you are our anchor in our Women's History Month lineup. So we've got to call that out before we close out today, because we've had some amazing, strong, fierce female leaders, and it's been wonderful to hear from you with your finance expertise and just your down-to-earth approach of how you can take control of your life through money. So thank you for that.
Thank you for that. It was so much fun. Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Produce Moms podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and any preferred podcast platform. Check out the Produce Moms on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Special thanks to everyone involved with the Produce Moms podcast, my amazing team. Stay tuned till next time. The Produce Moms is always accepting new brand partners. If you have a fruit or a vegetable product, or a product that has the same integrity and values of fresh produce, we want to help you. Visit theproducemoms.com, and in the footer of our homepage, please click on the Work With Us link. We look forward to supporting you.